Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. This is Nathan Daley. I'm your law enforcement translator, you guys, 13-year law enforcement veteran, here to give you insight and knowledge on all things law enforcement. Now, listen, shout out to my subscribers and my new subscriber, you guys. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and welcome to the channel. I want to talk about something a little different tonight because normally I don't really speak too much on the celebrity stuff, the celebrity issues. Last year, it was November 17. We had a rapper who was assassinated, right? He was murdered. His name is young Dolph. I'm actually a fan. I like his music. And, when he was killed, I was disappointed. You guys. He did a lot of things for his community. Now, listen, I'm not vouching for his character. I don't know him. I don't know what he does behind the scenes, right? I don't know why this happened. We don't know. We don't know the motives, why he was killed, but we do know two men decided to assassinate him on that day. They walked up on him coming out of a cookie shop and shot him multiple times. There's an issue in our community, you guys, that I'm going to address tonight. The violence. There's something about the black men in our community. There's a segment. There's a few of the men in our community that struggle with the idea of positive conflict resolution. There's a thing where it seems like violence is the only solution, is the only option that we give ourselves when we're addressing each other. I always say it, the words that come out of our mouth tend to be the most dangerous weapons because it tends to end in violence. The rate at which black men kill one another is astronomical, you guys. It's unacceptable. On average, between 7,000 to 7,400 a year, black people die or are victims of homicide. Homicide. Every year. Approximately 7,400 in our community, you guys. And we're only 13% of the population. And the majority of those who are killed are men. And the black men are only 6% of the population. What about our counterparts, you guys? What about white people? On average, about 4,000 a year. White people die by homicide. What's the problem with that? People like to talk about this disproportionate thing all the time. You guys, white people are 60% of the population. A lot of people don't like to talk about this, and they think that when you bring it up that you're trying to... The black community is responsible for nearly half of the violent crimes. Not all crime, violent crimes in this country, you guys. And we see it. What made me do this video, I didn't want to do it. I wasn't going to do it. Then I came across a video with the DA, District Attorney, Memphis. And she started reading this gentleman's criminal history, the one that was on the run. His name Justin Johnson, this clown. He's 23 years old. He's spending the rest of his life in prison as exactly where he should be. He should have never been out in the first place. She starts reading his criminal history, guys. What does she say? It'll blow your mind.
As for Justin Johnson, in July of 2015, at the age of 17, he was charged with aggravated rape and aggravated robbery at the gunpoint. The victim in that case was a woman at an Econo Lodge. He was found delinquent He was placed in the custody of the Department of Children's Services until his 19th birthday. Our office filed a transfer request in that case that was denied, and he was placed on the Violent Juvenile Sex Offender Registry. In January of 2017, January 31st to be specific, he shot 3 people at the Billy Hardwick bowling alley, and many of you all have covered that case. In February of 2017, he was arrested on that case after MPD solved it. In May of 2017, he pled guilty to 5 years concurrent for the shooting in the Billy Hardwick case. In November of 2017, he asked a criminal court judge to be released from that sentence, and the judge granted that request. That was 9 months of time on a 5-year sentence. In May of 2018, he was arrested with a handgun and illegal drugs. The next day, he posted a $7,500 bond. A week later, he was arrested for violating the conditions of his probation with the new gun and the new drug case. 3 days later, he posted a $15,000 bond on that violation of probation.
She said at the age of 17, you guys. What did he do? He took a weapon. He forced himself on a woman. He sexually assaulted her. He did time, juvenile time. He came out. He got arrested again. What did he do? He shot 3 people. 3 people, you guys. He was supposed to do 5 years in prison. They let him out after 9 months. This is the problem. Listen, you guys, don't tell me about criminal justice reform. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. We want to talk about the prison to school pipeline. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Why do I say that? You can't say he was treated unfairly in the court system. What happened? They let him go. They released him. What did he do? He's been arrested again. Arrested again after that. Drug offenses. Ultimately, he was a part, allegedly, of this assassination against another black man. Him and his accomplice, Cornelius Smith, right? The accomplice. He's 32 years old. This is a grown man. Running the streets. They arrested him in a stolen car. 32 years old. Assassinating another man. What are we doing, you guys? What are we doing?
Cornelius Smith is now in custody as well, pending the following charges: first-degree murder, criminal attempt to first-degree murder, convicted felon in possession of a handgun, employing a firearm during the commission of a dangerous felony, and theft of property in the amount of $10,000 to $60,000.
When I was watching the DA speak, what motivated me to do this video is because I end up having flashbacks. You guys, I've 13 years law enforcement experience. I've sat in courtrooms and I've heard charges go out. I look in the room and 95% of everybody in there is African American. And when you hear the charges get listed, you're like, what are you guys doing? What are you doing? The things that we do to one another, you guys, you don't know. Some of you guys don't want to know. You want to blame other people. You guys, the choices that we make, the things that we do against one another, it's sinister, you guys. You know, I've arrested plenty of people. Arrested kids, 14, 15, 16. They're in prison now. The same ones I arrested. They're in prison now. Murder, robbery, sexual assault. In their 20s, spending the rest of their life in prison. You guys, no one forced them to do it. No one forced them to do it. And then I look back and I say, okay, where's the problem? How do we get here? right? How do we get here? Then I step into the homes of these children that I've arrested. And then I see the parent. And it's no shot towards the mothers that are raising these kids. 99% of the time, there's no father at the home. I'm not saying that there's no father present in the kid's life. Some of the fathers are present. Some of the fathers aren't even any good. Right? They're present, but they're no good. And I'm talking about a segment of our community, guys. I'm not talking about all of us. I always have to make that distinction because some of you guys don't understand nuances, right? I gotta make these statements. I gotta put these disclaimers out because some of you guys don't understand. Let's be clear, it's not all of us. The problem is it's too many of us. Then we complain about this whole prison to school pipeline. You guys know there's a portion of us that are walking into these prisons, you guys. 38% of the prison population are African American. And then we see the actions of these two men. And you understand why. You understand why. It's so depressing. If you guys only knew. If you guys only knew. You know, I've arrested kids for a multitude of things. You know, and then to turn around. And 3 years later, one of the kids you arrested, you're watching him take his last breath. And where I worked wasn't nearly as violent as these places like Murder Memphis, Chirac, right? Not nearly as violent. In Philadelphia, last year, over 80% of the shooting victims were African American. I believe it was 85% of the shooting victims were African American. Over 1,400 people shot. African American, you guys. In Philadelphia, that's one city. Murder rate in the hundreds. 90% of those murdered, African American. One city, you guys. The violence is out of control. You know, we have to talk about, we can't run from these conversations about black culture. How toxic black culture has become, has grown into, has evolved. It's in the music. It's in the entertainment. You can Google the word thug. You see black and Hispanic faces. Some of you guys don't even know the origins of the word thug, where it came from. And we label ourselves with it. You don't even know the meaning of it. What's the origins of that word? You don't know. There's power in words, you guys. There's power in labels. You end up looking up the word, you find the origins, dating all the way back from India. A cult of killers, a cult of assassins, called themselves thuggies. Thuggies. They were a cult group. They worshiped the goddess Kali Ma. Look it up. Look it up. If you think these things don't have meaning, you guys, it's so much deeper. It's so deeper. A lot of you aren't ready to have the conversation. The majority of you guys like to swim in shallow waters. God forbid if I take you out into the deep and you drown. You would drown. Look it up, you guys. You know, we tattoo these words, these symbols on our bodies, and we don't know the meaning of them. You're bringing in this energy. You're bringing in this mentality. An ancient cult of thugs dating back from India, worshiping a goddess. Look it up. And you tattoo it on your body. You chant it over yourself in your music. You guys, listen, man. I might have to do a video on it. The power of these labels. Everybody wants to be a thug. Right? This is thug life. You know, young Dolph has it all through his music. About drugs, violence, shooting, killing. The problem in our community, we can't separate entertainment from reality. This is the problem. You have children growing up now, wanting to be like young Dolph, wanting to be like these young rappers. And then feel like in order to be like them, they have to act out what they hear in the music, you guys. It's very simple logic. It's very simple. In order for me to validate what I'm saying, I have to live this life. And then we just perpetuate this thing consistently. We're talking about generations. Generations. You guys, listen. This ignorance that goes through our community is malignant. It's malignant. Where does it start? It starts in the home, you guys. It starts in the home. The more we keep pushing this poison on these influential minds, this will never stop. No one can fix it but us. Politicians can't fix it. Laws can't fix it. What the police do? They showed up after the fact, you guys. That's how it works. That's how it works. Look at all the resources they use to find these two killers. Because young Dolph is a celebrity. He's an important icon in Memphis. You know, what's the problem with that? There are plenty of people in Memphis who get murdered all the time. They don't get the same amount of treatment, you guys. They just don't. They don't. Starts in the home. Starts in the home. You know what's funny? I came across a clip from Denzel Washington. What did he say? He was talking about this very thing. He was sharing the importance of parents. Quality parents. Why do I say that? You guys, I've walked through these homes in our communities. Talk to the parents. They say, I can't control my child. My daughter has ran away. She's been gone for 2 months. Where do I find her at? She's at the hotel. She's at the hotel. Right? She said, I can't control my son. Where is he at? I arrest him. Look, I arrest a kid for shoplifting. I see he has a tattoo on his face and he's 15 years old. He has a tattoo across his... I said, who is that? Oh, man, that's my brother. He died last week. He was murdered. They murdered him in a dice game. I take him home and his mother says, I can't control him. He's out of control. He does what he wants to do. She tells me I have other kids I need to worry about. His father's in prison. You guys, listen. I said, for what? Murder. Murder, you guys. We have a 14-year-old man, young man. Whose responsibility is he? Right? Justin, this assassin, was 17 years old when he sexually assaulted a woman. and he was armed. He shot 3 people. He's out walking around. Listen, the judge needs to be held liable, you guys. This is the problem. I've watched it happen. I've arrested people for some heinous crimes. And they were back at home before I got off work. Back in the community. You guys, it's a joke. That's why when I hear what you guys say, I laugh. Because you don't know what you're talking about. The majority of the people in prison need to be there. And I hate that 1%, right? I hate it. I hate it. There are people in there who shouldn't be in there. I get it. But the majority. What is, look, again, what did Denzel Washington say? I think what he touched on was so interesting. What did he say?
It was something I read where you talked about your people from Mount Vernon saying that, like they've done like 40 years in the penitentiary together. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, and, incarceration rates in America has been a problem, especially as opposed to minorities. And Roman delves into the issues around the legal system. Do you think we've made any headway in the legal system?
I think it's more important to make headway in our own house. By the time the system comes into play, the damage is done. They're not locking up 7-year-olds. Yeah. I was in Chicago a couple of 3-4 weeks ago, and we saw these little kids on bikes with masks on the side of their head, like 5 or 6 of them. And the driver said, "Yeah, they're little yummies." I said, "Who?" He said, "Little yummies. Look up, Google Little Yummy." Little Yummy was an 11-year-old murderer.
Wow. And
you look at his picture, you'll see the headshot of him, and he's like this. And he got murdered at 11 by a 14-year-old.
Wow.
Who's doing life now, and a 16-year-old.
That makes no sense.
You blame the system? Where was his father?
Yeah.
It starts in the house. It starts in the home. And well, my father got locked up. Well, where was his father?
Yeah.
Like I did talk about my 3 closest friends, and they did, 15 to 25. One did 28, this and that. I was the only one of the 3 that had a father in my life, even though my parents were together. But I still had a father who was a gentle man and a good example, and they didn't. We can blame the system if we want, but they didn't lock any of us up at 7.
Yeah.
We were all doing enough to get locked up at 13. My parents sent me in another direction. They didn't have anybody to help them, and they kept doing what they was doing, and the system got them. So I don't, the system is rigged, but why? All the more reason not to help it.
What did he say? Did you catch that? How old is Denzel Washington? This has been going on for a long time, you guys. Where's the solution? We know what the problem is. Are we doing anything about it? Or is this our culture? Is this who we are? Is this what it is? Is it okay? Is it okay? This is a real problem. Sometimes I think a lot of people don't realize it because they're not in it, right? A lot of us see the smoke and we think we understand the problem. You guys, listen, there are some people in our community who are working in the fire, and we're here to tell you it's not what you think. It's not what you think. Accountability is kryptonite to our community. So many unnecessary lives lost because of our inability to communicate properly with one another. I don't know. Listen, I'm going to end it here, you guys. I'm going to follow this case. I'm gonna follow this case because, you know, so let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, you guys. And with that, I'm out. Good night, and God bless.